Good morning. It's good to be back with you as I'm back from school. It's great to be back to routines. I hope that routines will be static for the next few months at least. I hope that everything is just kind of moving on normal schedule for the next few months. So it's good to be back though as we pick up with John chapter 3 today. We're going to be reading John 3. Um, we're reading John 3, 22 through 30. John 3, 22 to 30. We just finished the Nicodemus discourse where Jesus talked with Nicodemus in the ending with John 3:16. Well, not ending with John 3:16, but John 3:16 is kind of one of the culmination of that passages. So let's read verse 22 through 30. After this, Jesus and his disciples went to the Judean countryside. And he spent some time there with them and baptized. John was also baptizing in Ananon over Ananon near Siloam, because the water was abundant there. People were kept coming and were being baptized. John, of course, had not yet been thrown into prison. Now, a discussion about purification arose among John's disciples and a Jew. They came to John and said to him, Rabbi, the one who was with you across the Jordan, who you testified, here he is baptizing, and all are going to him. John answered, No one can receive anything except what has been given from heaven. You yourselves are my witnesses that I said I am not the Messiah, but I have been sent ahead of him. He who has the bride is the bridegroom. The friend of the bridegroom who stands and hears him rejoices greatly at the bridegroom's voice. For this reason my joy hath been fulfilled. He must increase, but I must decrease. That's one of my favorite stories in John's gospel, and one of my favorite verses in John's gospel. Let's unpack what's happening here. Jesus is finished this teaching with Nicodemus, and now they've gone into the Judean countryside, Galilee, and he's baptizing, just as John did. And once again, I think we talked about this. Did we talk about this? Yeah. Where baptism, what it may have been, was a form of ceremonial washing. So that's interesting. That discussion about purification arose because a lot of scholars think that baptism would have been a adaptation of this purification ritual that the Jewish people did. So Jesus is baptizing and John's baptizing, and someone says, "Hey, John, you're John the Baptist. Like that's your name. Like you're known for baptisms. That's kind of your deal. Yet everyone's going to Jesus. Hmm, how do you feel about that? Huh? You feel good about that? Is that how you feel? They're all leaving you and going to him. Hmm, that's something, isn't it? How you feel? John answered, No one can receive anything except what's been given by heaven. You yourselves are my witnesses that I said, I am not the Messiah, but I have been sent ahead of him. He who has the bride is the bridegroom. The friend of the bridegroom who stands and hears him rejoices greatly at the bridegroom's voice. For this reason, my joy has been fulfilled. He must increase, but I must decrease. Jesus says about John at one point, there's been no one greater born of woman up to that point. John understood it wasn't about him. John understood it wasn't about him, but it was about Jesus. Y'all, there's a quote I love. I think it was by Truman. But it may not be Truman. I've always heard it attributed to Truman, but you could probably Google and see who actually said it. But I've heard it attributed to Truman, where it said it's amazing what you can get done when no one cares who gets the credit. John lost followers to Jesus. John lost influence to Jesus, and they're messing with him. They're picking. So it says there's another discussion on purification arose, and they came and said, "Hey," so they're fussing about purification, and they go to him and said, "Hey, John, look, you ain't got nobody. He's got all of them. So how you feel?" John says, "I told y'all I was not the Messiah, but I rejoice that the Messiah has come." he must increase, but I must decrease. Imagine if that was our credo, if that was our position. Imagine if we as pastors says, I don't care which church grows as long as Jesus is lifted up. I don't care what church to go to as long as Jesus is lifted up. It's not about me. It's about Jesus. We want to be the stars so bad. We want our attaboys. We want our ego. It's this pride. Pride dwells down deep in all of us. And if we are not careful, our pride will consume us. And we will make it about us when it's not about us at all. It's about Jesus. John understands that he had to decrease and Jesus must increase. And friends, if you want your life to be at peace, if you want peace, if you want purpose, if you want life, if you want joy, if you want the fruits of the Spirit, if you want these things, I must decrease and Jesus must increase. We must decrease and Jesus must increase. John got it. John understood it. John lived it out. John believed it. And y'all, this is, I think, one of the primary examples that all of us as Christians must aspire to. We must decrease. We must decrease. It's not about us. And he must increase. It's about Jesus. We're not the star of our show. The fate of the free world does not rest upon your shoulders. You don't have to fix everything. You don't have to do everything. You just have to be faithful. I think humility is a virtue that we should all aspire to. And I like what C.S. Lewis says. C.S. Lewis says humility is not thinking less of yourself. Humility is thinking of yourself less. I think that's a great goal for us all to have, is to think of ourselves less. We must decrease. We must decrease. We must get out of the way. We must put our ego to the side. We must put our agenda to the side. We must put our stuff to the side, and he must increase. And if we're decreasing, he is increasing, then we're going to find life here, y'all. But if we're up here, man, if we're increasing and we're in the catbird seat and we've all got it all figured out and it's all great for us, and Jesus is decreasing in our life, then it's not going to work. We're going to be out of balance. We're not going to have life. We may have stuff, but we're not going to have life. When we decrease and he increases. It's for life is found. Think about Mother Teresa. She decreased and Jesus increased. And think of the life that flowed from her. Think about Billy Graham. He decreased, Jesus increased. The life that flowed from him. Think of the great people in your life, the true servants of God, the true servants of God. Your grandmothers, your grandfathers, your parents, your Sunday school teachers, your preachers. These people who were the true saints of God. They decreased. They decreased. They understood it wasn't about them. It wasn't about them. It was about Jesus. They decreased. So John gets it. John understands it. And that's why Jesus says there was no one born a woman as great as John the Baptist, because he got it. He understood. So today, let our goal be to seek after humility. Let our goal be to understand the proper order of things, the proper position of things, the proper way of things. Let our goal be to decrease, to get out the way, and to let Jesus do his work, to let Jesus have his will, let Jesus have his way. He must decrease. We must decrease and he must increase. That's it, y'all. That's the path to happiness. That's the path to life, the path to faith. So today, let's seek humility. Let's seek joy. Let's seek peace. Let's seek these things that come when we decrease and he increases. Thanks for being with us tomorrow. We're going to pick up with chapter 3, verse 31. We'll finish out chapter 3 tomorrow. Have a great rest of your day. See you in the morning.